akɔtena democracy ɛyɛma bi before anaasɛ ɛnyɛma yɛn kwasi broni trim popa ɛne sentia wɔde vaccination ɛba abibiman mu na family plan so mpo no ɛhyehyɛ bɛn ana kwasi broni hyehyɛyɛ ɛwɔ de krom ɛnti a wɔde ɛtoa yɛn ɛba ne sɛn ana gay ate atese ɛwɔ wiase afana nyinara ɛnɛ wɔsɛ illuminati ɛnɛ wɔsɛ freemason ɛnɛ wɔsɛ sumwe mu ne nyinara ahyase firi he no broni trim po a wɔde saa nneɛma wɔ nyinara ɛba no de atoa abibiman mu no ɛne sɛn wei entram so hwɛ wake up Africa kwasi da wei ne kwasi da bia awia dumienu ɛkɔpem awia no mienu live Royal TV ɛyɛ dwumadi a ɔfa poku danko yɛ executive director ɛdema free the mind movement ɛne ɔfa Israel Nkroma a ɛyɛ coordinator ɛdema free the mind movement no
ɛbɛka me Kofi Kumi ho
na yɛsim konwa no madi dwumadi ho kyia me na ɛnsɛm bi ati sei no yɛgyina twɛ kronkron so abakɔsɛm ɛne ntwerɛ ahodoɔ so na ɛdeɛ mo ho baabi a obibini ufiri ɛne mu a ɛduro ɛne som a wosombo amabrɔfo sisi akyɛ ɛbra so sɛ call together atwerɛ ne kaeɛ no ɛtumi bam ne no ana ahyɛ aseɛ o free the mind movement dwumadi ɛfrɛ sɛ wake up Africa dwumadi so praso sɛ yɛfa dwumadi live Royal TV so kwasi da wei ne kwasi da bia awia dumienu kɔpem no mienu na yɛagye wo so adwenkyerɛ ne wasɛm bisa yɛyɛ ano ɛde ama wo wake up Africa abibiman moma yɛn sɔre
Amuna oba ye krum se oba betray yamesu eche no to nipa eche no di asase akwanu mana biasamyo akwanu mana biasamyo akwanu mana biasamyo akwanu mana biasamyo Okromoto wa Matias Sibroni wa Matias Okromoto wa Matias Amuna oba ye krumse oba betray yamesu eche no to nipa eche no di asase akwanu mana biasamyo akwanu mana biasamyo
Anusia ene esoso eye kwasiada na edu kwasiada onim se e Royal Television so wake up Africa dwumadi ena wani guso asabiri wo hwe na osomfo Kofi Kumi ebi samri a na magimegwa Dimagwa sara metira gwama empanyifo mienu bi na dwumadie yesi nkonya na dwumadie yatumi ede asomo eye wofa ya opoku dankwa a woye executive director de my QFN free the mind movement ono ne ba Israel Nkroma a ono so ye national coordinator de my QFN free the mind movement kana nso so mpanyifo ade omakonya na omaje omakonya dwumadie no a ene de ba besomo asema dapuniti a yedi hu nkomo yegusu bobo hu no eye the horrific bloodshed by the JESUITS to take over for the Pope to control this world. Eno ene nsema yeguso edi ho nkomo. Na enumu ena na wotwe sende ofayawo eje mre na onim se oje ne mre saa ogina video so ene pictures so na onam so e dia dansemu edi na last week odi ye call eye robot ensensem na robot ensensem no de enya asem ketwa kra ene ide ofayawo danadi ma yehu se robot ensensem na ne enye se enuma nkwa na omoje na emom me no mienu ya wariye ha ene nso so omate asim a ene me no kasa de ofayawo ma ne dadi ma yehu se ene omaye robot a oya oba ne bia wo ho no ompe o kina bi ena wonya aduane mame ena wonsi niam mame ena wonye we mame a ohia sa niam na wo hwe na eyatete ya ene wo oba ya ye robot amawa obetimi akoto okoto a no aye onkanchima na kese ono ena fidi abrabo no one ne benam eno no how bi anim okoba konanti akoye ne obaye oba robot ono no demand bi anim na kese uko wanim oya obema nso so a na on person na chop money emaye ena mofra ku ka suni ade a eno so ya yo robot kama obetimi on sabeka onso obetimi na tena ochina bi uni how bia we nyina ya de a ba bi ya du abrabo mu no omaya eni ofayawo ema ni dedi last week ma yehu ye se omudi robot edi enima no na fe ene family structure no aware ene saa nneɛma no so no ene ɔma yɛ robot de awuro mu a ɛno nti ɛsɛ aware ɔfa ɛma ne daabi ma yɛhu last week kura sɛ robot no kura no ya assign ni bi a ɔmo yɛ test ɛkyerɛ ɛma ɔmo bisa nipa sɛ ɛne robot ya yɛ ɔmo na ɛne mo ba bɛbɔ ɛba bɛnam no mo susu yɛ ne sɛn ne nyinaa no ɔfa da na di ma yɛhu yɛ na ɛnum ɛna yɛ nam mu ana ɔfa yaw ɛsa ma yɛhu sɛ ɛyɛ last week no sɛ papa bi a ɔno yɛ America man mu ne dwumadi a wodi no ama ɔyɛ the fourth yɛfrɛ ne sɛn wing ɛwɔ America kyerɛ sɛ America na brabɔ a ɔbɔ no ɛyɛ ne sika sɛm ne ade deɛ saa papa no uyi governance no ɔmo di amamu n'anim ne ade a yi ɔmo fi wa papa no ɛne gyina esan sɛ mpo sɛ wokɔ Federal Reserve sika yɛtwa no mu a papa no di mu ntuntuman a ɔno ɔka ɛbɛm na ɔhwɛ kra na ne dwumadie mu na kɛsɛ America man na kra na ɛwɔ hɔ no ɔcontrol America man ne paa esan sika ɔwɔ na kwan da nso dwumadie bɛn na odi a ama ɛnɛ wanya saa tumi saa ɛnɛ saa papa no ɔkasa na bibia yɛ dini ɛyɛ robot dwumadie ɛna odi ɔno deɛ ɔyɛ robot na waya mane empo ɛba ɛyɛ sinitwa ɛwɔ America man ni mu a ɔfada na di ma yehu sɛ ɛba sinitwa ɛwɔ America man ni mu a baabi a sinitwa ɛkɔ so a agye dimpa ɛyɛ Hollywood hɔ no ɛnɛ ɛyɛ ɛmaa ne mɛma a ɔmo twa sini ɛne ɔmo yɛ sini ho adwuma ne nyinaa no ɔmo tu atia ɛma ɛkyerɛ sɛ robot a mpanyinfo bi pɛ sɛ ɔmo fa kutupa ɛde bɛhyɛ sinitwa adwuma nim na ɛgye ɔmo a ɔmo twa sini na ɛyɛ maa ne mɛma twa sini no ɛgye ɔmo adwuma yɛ no ɔmo sɔre yɛ sɛ ɔmo ma kwan ɔmo mpere ne nti ɔmo hwɛ ne yie na saa deɛ no ɔmo ammɔ saa bra na ɔmo yi saa deɛ no fi hɔ ɔfa ɛda wei nyinaa di last week ɛma yɛhu yɛ Israel ɛde bi bɛpii so ɛma ɛfa ɛyɛ robot sɛm na ɛma ɛkɔsii sɛ ɛnɛ yi robot sɛm no deɛ kyerɛ sɛ ɛno ɛna agye baabiara last week mpanyinfoɔ ɛda wei nyinaa ɛdi this week nso so mpanyinfoɔ yi mmienu aberewa yi poma kwam ama mpanyinfoɔ yi agye ɔmo agua yɛagye agua yi deɛ na kyerɛ sɛ ɛyɛ wake up Africa dwumadie yɛde ɛba abɛsom na ebia na wɔni fie na nso dwumadie ɔpɛ sɛ ɔka ho live ane ɔkɔ Abɛɛfontein tan so a ɔkɔ Abɛɛfontein tan so a dwumadie no obetumi aka ho ɔhwehwɛ wake up Africa GH a ɛbɛboa ama dwumadie yi watumi aka ho live na wɔn nso wahwɛ bi ɛyɛ Facebook ɛne YouTube ɛna YouTube nyinaa ɔhwehwɛ wake up Africa GH a obetumi aka dwumadie ho live saa nso ɛna matena sei mehwɛ ɔkwan sɛ wode wo SMS ɛne o WhatsApp message ɛbɛba wode ba magye mmerɛ na makenkan ma number abɛfa so ɛde ama me no ɛyɛ 0206 519335 0206 519335 wei ɛne number wode fa so a obitumi agye mmerɛ na yɛayɛ den yakenkan ɛde ama wo but ɔma menni dwa kakra na afei deɛ yɛmfa dwumadie no ɛmfa nhyehyɛ so ɛyɛ Israel consort a ɔno deɛ dwama nso ɔkɔ biara ɔde bi ba na ne ɔde aba dwama nso a ne edi ntintiman paa nkurɔfoɔ ɛnti ho gyae ɛyɛ quantum spectacle wei ɛyɛ spectacle a ɛyɛ aniwa ho adwuma yie paa ebia na waniwa no ɛyɛ kusukuku wɔ so wohwɛ adeɛ a nhu ne yie wohwɛ adeɛ a na atutu abom kan adeɛ a wobɛhu sɛ na akeka bom na ayɛ kusukusu wei ɛbɛboa wo ama wani no wei yɛmfa nkan adeɛ nyɛ sɛ wode kan adeɛ no na mmom wohyɛ a na ahili wani no enti wei no ɛwɔ period a wobɛhyɛ adu a wonhyɛ biom ɛsiane sɛ wohyɛ no na ahili wani no enti afei bɛdu mpɛmpɛnso bi wohu sɛ na wani no afei deɛ ɛyɛ okay a ɔnhyɛ hwee kwa na wotumi kenkan wadeɛ wotumi yɛ nea wopɛ biara no ebi saa time na wayi na wode ato wɔ wonia bi wɔ hɔ a ɔno nso wɔ saa effect na wode ama no na ɔno nso ahyɛ bi ɛnyɛ no nko a radiation ɛda bi a wo a wote screen anim ɛyɛ laptop phone so ɛne saa ne ho nneɛma no wei preventing wani no ɛbɔ wani no ho ban ɛfi radiation wei ɛna Israel consort akɔfa de abadwama nso tutumrika na onsa enka bie saa nso ɛna Nico multimedia ɔtanim ɛwɔ Koforidua abɔnten so Koforidua ɔyoko yes mebɔ dawuro ne de ho dawuro ɛde ama ɔkakra sɛ ɔno deɛ ba ɛyɛ your friend is saying I fro ebi aye any hu keka hu age aye u di djuma bi a opese obi be take pictures obi twa video maw any sa niema na niko multimedia enfo wani hwe ba bia obe boss adwuma no ama opepepepepepe ono de o drone nyina oba masa odi ba ye adwuma na ma wankasa obi hu say yes ene ya mudi mo asa ye mu niema no no ne de onam wiem na ofamo obi twa mu clean aye ne kama ama enya sem keto akra mi ko multimedia anso asem ma waso nti se e bia pe camera to eye camera ye di twa pictures ni ye di ye video obayama open laptop even phones ene ne keka ho nyina no opa obo opusu na ho mana na oni di nkoma obanya bi e di ama the number obetumi apusu no eye 0244 549107 0244 549107 wey ene ni ko number opusu a nia opebia no onsa ebeka na ye ne sa no afi yenko empanyifo ne ho na dwumadie no yemfa nhye so Israel
Kumi
no akwaba
Joso
ngirise bibia egoko
emode
edo bwadi ase niko multimedia ofata otwirim ekofudia oyeko o machines there don't go there enti obia o ye wedding aye ayi bibia na your friend is saying to bedin just bibia ye pictures twa video camera hu sam there obe boma pepepepepepepe ave kovi avan ma baba ejo so oluma ochireso okrumo okrumpa enya agudie enya kasa o fata we chi awa aba bacho ni mo akwa mejo so ni se bibia boko yo emi say ofa ya cheche nsem na last week o say yebo say enei eye your friend say robot hu nsem no emi say o de awie na o tie simu wa another line yenye ready na enya sem keto akra e wo ho midiri say o kan ne sa no abusuafo ni nyina aye krado ene amanfo atoto nsafre amanfo afrefe a o magye o magwa eni nti sa biri mi say me kra dwumadie no medane e de ama medase yedi kan be chia Arifonia of Atamis Mechiawo. I have Ejo so. On the back, ye social media, BBR of Ata, or Talimono handle Nina, and you know there, and then you may be in the Obadia, my Hodia, meaning the Bishia, sir. A very small PowerPoint in the Boahonabra. Okay. And your Fata was Suma. Now, my real is Sano. No correct. Now, keep your mono. She boss say you want some PIA car a far one world government any ne ka ho no ho intimidate me traffic ko enche e wo ha enu ti e kan say iwiase na e ba when it comes to digital mema no a de tie ni na me fa ko nya wi na mi siso nka say oba de na ahihye say technology ebedu mebi no na pege ni mu enu nti no ma yi ni wo twoni technology will be such that ene be determine bi ya wa asase so na mu no omo da no ebe twi de asi baby enu nti say technology e ya de boni ya na for more messages in that technology ni pa na try be twe si boni kwa so ene na na ye kan so ya na ka ho bi ko fiku ena o kan wa so ma ena ba nya o ya nya onu ni se bi asna de ye ko ni de ba ni enje onu ye bi on kan se o twe do akoboni oni ya bua ye nyina no and I me data more social media. No can say yeah this cartoon or mobile money. Me na me be. Yeah, we are using me be. Yeah, the two more they are now stressful. So technology there. Now the other say
convenience abasi ene ope so tabia ubutina trafi na oda e the bedrock convenience le bi no Madam so bi no ebe twia pa e kwamboni so ntino ena emma ye hwe ni nyina se etisei ya so mpo no twa mo twi no just for 3.5 years eno ba the same kwa eno interest technology ni bi jai ebe to aso afiri ho la kan bia ena ni yako baby ene Europe almost started in Sasi seizing lands from their small scale farmers in a war. Ebusian Sasi ya hand over to generation and I know you are going to lose all. Adentia. Farmlands are going to be seized by the rich. Enintino yakasa me the dates waton Sasi libri obeyefu waton no buy no CBDC currency asama ayeka no area ne na obeto akuvia akudi no omu na eba be produce one ton fi omo na dan wani ko be bia na sochu wo yi no off eminti you go ba ho ni aba behwe ene Europe eni ana ya Africa ye bu eni aguso enti ene ne ye be ko abakosen ensase ho asem ekwan kitinkiti abonia faswa eni aba be dun pempem so se ya ensase bibri efiri yensa ebibri mu ha asese no ebi approach nti aninti ehia na se ehwe ni yi land grabs men kan Ghana for politics na abansa ase na party yato ya no ho asem na me kan me I have nothing to say about our local politics and at water for you not go to we have no and don't come a presentation maybe we be when you am ko si broni ye tu anamo ni edi lechi ni ahwe kwan a wode afa so a e de wo chinchin bi ni na yensa e de abedum pempen so se even I say President John Kennedy JF Kennedy time eno mo hihye say ekobase yi entokwa wo efi wiase a ekle ba de na ebetimi dia ba ebetimi dia fu na wiase fo na wo mu na be dia chiri na fe yetu anamo e pesi yetu enti a special study group bi started eno mo eba conclusion say sekobase yi entokwa fi wiase a ade ebetimi dia ba ama nipa ho pu say beka say environmental pollution eno na ba nti ya nhwe yi a yesa asase a yedi ba bia okobiem nti eno ene yedi beba we in the 1960s Kennedy ma mitab Oma ya set up no ka say yenhwehwe nyenyi sei no 63 no odane saman nti emu ye report no bae no ase so ndi oni ho but Kennedy ni hu say emre bi ba America kwa disarmament ebeba ma be they lose sovereignty of their country if say and she say any say Omandia baba the United Nations as it is a steady level so see year war if we are see there environmental pollution any the paper then it just say na ba e see atwintwa ye na see na the extent of pollution you know equals to an appreciable level there so we can so we don't want the concept no sabe me wiase nyina giato sampa de wo hoduma eyi ni no mo ye no na o dey report bi ba ya na fe no the report from Iron Mountain nti no any whole research ene ma ye ene aye ba be de ready na ya hwe na sana no book bi wɔ ha yɛfrɛ no circle of intrigue ɛno ni owura no ɔtwerɛ no yɛfrɛ no texmas yɛkɔ page 104 a wobɛka wei ama me ɛhɛ yɛ ama maki
okay mepakyɛ ɔfa ama yɛn book bi a edin no ɔbɔɔyɛ no circle of intrigue ɛno ne book a ɔde ɛda m'anim saa bere yi na page a yɛkan no ɛyɛ page 104 ɛna yɛkan yi na wamaki baabi okay environmental crisis invented in 1966 a classified government study the report from Iron Mountain recommended that a global environmental crisis be contrived to engage the masses in a holy war to save Mother Earth. The Illuminati saw that the environmental scare could also be used to further their plan for world government by international treaties, the Convention on Biological Diversity. This would destroy private property rights and enable the creation of a World Environmental Agency, which would erode American sovereignty and enforce global law.
Fantastic.
Okay.
That's it. Okay, so report from Iron Mountain. Report from Iron Mountain, page 27.
Okay.
Also assemble the
okay.
And my market.
Report book nankasa ni Iron Mountain na me boy di no book nankasa ene da manimi. The report from Iron Mountain. Okay. Enye nkola book o. Aha, page 27. Now for market baby how na yekan. Nevertheless, an effective political substitute for war would require alternate enemies, some of which might seem equally far-fetched in the context of the current war system. It may be, for instance, that gross pollution of the environment can eventually replace the possibility of mass destruction by nuclear weapons as the principal apparent threat to the survival of the species. Poisoning of the air and of the principal sources of food and water supply is already well advanced, and at first glance would seem promising in this respect. It constitutes a threat that can be dealt with only through social organization and political power, but from present indication it will be a generation to a generation and a half before environmental pollution, however severe, will be sufficiently menacing on a global scale to offer a possible basis for a solution. It is true that the rate of pollution could be increased selectively for this purpose. In fact, the mere modifying of existing programs for the deterrence of pollution could speed up the process enough to make the threat credible much sooner. But the pollution problem has been so widely publicized in recent years that it seems highly improbable that a program of deliberate environmental poisoning could be implemented in a politically acceptable manner. Pacho.
Because you read Charco, page 35.
Okay.
Now the union will
the Pacho of Amati.
And the Bayama pollution, you know, Akoso. Send you happy, the dying in the Bahwa. You be whom the Baya, you beating your friend.
If I can as a pollution here, or more at the Almashi, or did you my pen, Yakin can ye?
Sanity. In the end of Fabian Cost, you can't climate change, and no crown answered it. That's say a unique purpose. You may do her. And so we are saying, Jatu. You're into climate change. Climate change. I would books in here, graphics. You will go up. And it has you. Now, a section of the Iron Mountain report, you know, if now I didn't make my aircraft and say, yeah, aliens from outer space. One of them, abada attack nti ese ehwe yi na we so na de weird stories about to say UFO unidentified flying objects ya keka we nyina samia ehu na dia be hye mu no ye begie adi na ya pene so kra if you say you dey be evident dey very catch kra me say asase no kra say ewura aliens and asase no wo the deed to the land almost the extent of pollution almost babaji or masase yan kan I report the MP 35
okay yo I report wha na yeda so ewu na page 35 no na ye koi of say yan kan ba bia o mark no eye political of ampacho say ho okay the pacho ya mark of a mark political like the inspection scheme surrogates. I say like the inspection scheme surrogates. Proposals for plenipotentiary international police are inherently incompatible with the ending of the war system. The unnamed forces variant amended to include unlimited powers of economic sanction might conceivably be expanded to constitute a credible external menace. Development of an acceptable threat from outer space, presumably in conjunction with a space research surrogate for economic control, appears unpromising in terms of credibility. The environmental pollution model does not seem sufficiently responsive to immediate social control, except through arbitrary acceleration of current pollution trends. This in turn raises questions of political acceptability. New, less progressive approaches to the creation of fictitious global enemies invite further investigation of Ampacho. Outer space invasion be beba. Inti na say itimi hwe ho so yi. Inti say say na tie dia. Ye ko ba dia conspiracies no. Yan ko hwe pictures, the first picture. Okay. The first picture no Daily Star 7th May 1991. Alien. Are these the first pictures of a being from outer space? A question. But I first picture into Somai. Or they are too so did that. Okay. Until they are more who say, as I see here, and more outer space, you know. Until no, ba, ya ba the GSS. They be Gia. You never be any time much as I see so over far. And almost had the bedroom say, oh, so say spaceman be Wababe who President Clinton or America. Now, we don't have the deal come White House. Oh, where do you see him? As an image in the banner, we want to say Photoshop. Anyway, second picture here, Christian Messenger, Volume 6, Number 7, 1993. Man from space meets President Clinton. Offer a picture now and to Sumaye. That's all who picture here, President Clinton and India. Now be a spaceman who's in India. And so, we a Christian paper, Christian Messenger. Or the Abba. I didn't know where be a CSA, so a BC that or the Eba. The third picture. Third picture near PMP, 17th January to 2nd February 2000. The 6 most common types of space aliens. What was that picture near to Sumaye? And I think one of them who me at say one types made in here. Now, we will a child that you could use what could you I really you do support to the agenda more. That's it, really about to say. Young
na ya ni environmental treaties no a dey be ba no so anya control yen ya dey betu yen. Next picture.
And also PMP 17th November 2003. Aliens own deed to Earth and they want their planet back. Move us a picture into Sumaye.
Say no. Asema more can say. Aliens they say ya say asasi extensive abuse and they say they almost near our planet back. Next picture.
Next picture no do Americans believe in UFOs? Move us a picture no into Sumaye.
I know the other kind review was here.
Okay. Yo. Eno, do Americans believe in UFOs? By Lydia Sad. Editor's note. This article was updated on August 20th, 2021 with Gallup's latest data pertaining to America's view on UFOs. Washington, D.C. 4 in 10 Americans now think some UFOs that people have spotted have been alien spacecraft visiting Earth from other planets or galaxies. This is up from a third saying so 2 years ago. Half, however, believe all such sightings can be explained by human activity or natural phenomena, while an additional 9% are unsure. America's view on explanation for UFOs.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. Obi a hobby visa say na report from Iron Mountain no unka home details. Masheda ye kwa video edi kan. Na video no mesre ahwepo nyina say all pay attention. There and send me a about pop up as we go along. A choir a pass or creative say yeah, the environment and a bad weapon to control the world. The baby baby no a sikafu war in yasi bastati ajiji and sasi a war asasi swa. I remain say if you are very stressing family bibiano on the beginning na dia boso na dia won timi amfa e kwampa so ami no won di kotikwan bia ya bi kwa ko se e chie se e bibi World Conservation Bank eno ne be chinchin ensa ana yaje ensase no afi won mo dia ne ho na ababaye won dia. Now the center of it all no United Nations never the supervisor and sase aka we yasi na no esikafu ya kit. Yanko first video. The first video of Asay and Shannon edi eda so no the report from Iron Mountain. Mumfasa video no emu mayen.
Report from Iron Mountain. This report is something you would never believe unless you read it. But you also have to understand the mindset of the government that requested it. The objective was to determine accurately and realistically the nature of the problems that would confront the United States if and when a condition of permanent peace should arise. Peace, in reality, equals world socialism, as we will find out as we journey through this report. Basic authority of the modern state over its people resides in its war powers. Now that's another very important statement. Therefore, a substitute for the war system must be found in order to control the people and provide stability and legitimacy of government if we go into an era of peace. Obviously, if the war machine is discarded, new political machinery would be needed at once. Until the substitute for war, is developed, the continuance of the war system must be assured to maintain the stability of its internal organization of power. What substitutes for war are there? Well, it has to be a universal threat of equal magnitude as that of World War. The immediate loss of life and the immediate thought that blood is going to be shed. It has to be credible, and it must be accepted by the vast majority of the population. It is more probable in our judgment that such a threat will have to be invented rather than developed from some unknown conditions. That means exactly what it says. They're going to invent a system to accomplish this. An effective political substitute for war would require alternate enemies. In other words, we have to find an external threat that's essentially very large. It may be, for instance, that gross pollution of the environment can eventually replace the possibility of mass destruction by nuclear weapons as the principal threat to the survival of the species. In other words, they're going to bring the environment up to a point of global threat. Poisoning of the air and of the principal sources of food and water supply is already well advanced, and at first glance would seem promising in this respect. It constitutes a threat that can be dealt with only through social organization and political power. But from present indications, it will be a generation to a generation and a half before environmental pollution will be sufficiently menacing on a global scale to offer a solution as a substitute for war. In other words, we replace the war threat with an environmental threat. It is true that the rate of pollution could be increased selectively for this purpose. In other words, you could selectively find areas where you could deliberately increase the pollution to get this threat in motion a little quicker. It is true that the rate of pollution could be increased selectively. In fact, the mere modification of existing programs for the deterrence of pollution could speed up the process enough to make the threat credible much sooner. In other words, let's have the governments drag their feet on pollution controls or the enforcement of pollution controls. And around the world, that's exactly what we have seen, a matter of foot dragging on the areas. One would then perhaps get the concept that this was all deliberate. Allow pollution to deliberately get worse until it can be manipulated by the controlled media into a world crisis. A global crisis has to be developed. The objectives of the EcoScan? Well, the UN will end up with control over all the land, and ownership of the land will be held by the rich men. The United Nations will be the controller of all the lands in the world through their various ecological, environmental organizations that they are in the process of setting up. In fact, the Rio Earth Summit was for that specific reason. Now, it's owned by the rich men. That's who owns the United Nations. That's who actually runs it. Eco foundations, the World Wildlife Fund, Heritage Trust, there's a lot of them, and you have many UN organizations. And the rich men of the earth sit on the boards of directors on all of these groups. These groups are buying up huge chunks of private land for conservation, they say, and to preserve the earth. And of course, all of it is to be owned by the rich men. And what they cannot purchase by normal means will be taken under zoning controls, DNR regulations, or other land grab means via governmental authority and regulation. This land will be held by a World Conservation Bank owned, of course, by the rich men of the earth. They will then own all the land, all the resources, all the food. They become the absolute masters, and all the people become the slaves. It's a perfect scam. It's a perfect system. Because the eco-threat is now global, then obviously it can only be controlled by a global authority. And guess who that is? Why, of course, it's the United States.
Abusia sabri wani guso a wo share Royal Television dwumadie ya na meka se yi ufidie no emfi ha na isan se eyede dwumadie no eguso eyede video a ye kohwe yi eye video a ekire yen bibia se ewiase omo enne omo hyehyɛ nneɛma yɛ dwumadie no omo de yɛse environmental pollution enne yɛ wiase no yayama ewiase no ya pollute ama nneɛma no sei enti yɛhwɛ kwan yɛbɛfa so asase no yɛbɛsɛbi asase ya ne agye no saa na ne nyinaa no na yɛbutaye a na bi wɔ akyiri esan sɛ first no kane no na ne omo yɛ ne sɛ omo control wiase no omo pɛ sɛ omo bɛ control bibia na omo hia bibia oman no na omo hyehyɛ ntɔkwa omo hwɛ kwan bɛfa so omo de ntɔkwa bɛba na ne tuo ne ayi weapons akesie na omo tugum na nipa ewu na omo yɛ omo tena sɛ na omo sɛ saa nneɛma no enei ɛha adwene dodo ɛma yɛ hu omo akyiri do sɛ omo sɛe ade omo ha adwene enti omo tena ase asɛ ne deɛ sɛ yɛ pɛ sɛ yɛ bibia na yɛ de ehu tu nipa so a yɛ nhyehyɛ ntɔkwa biom yɛ ntutu akesie ne bomb ne nneɛma bio enti dan yɛ bɛgyina so ɛna omo gyina so asɛ environment no yɛ bɛgyina environment ne so esan sɛ yɛ nsa kansa ase ahoroɔ ɛwɔ amama ya ahoroɔ so enti ɛneɛ yɛ bɛhyehyɛ yɛ bɛfa environment asase yɛ asɛ yɛ ha asase yɛ adodo yɛ de yɛ ni yɛ ni yɛ brabɔ ne yɛ nyuma ahoroɔ a yɛ di wɔ asase so ɛha asase yɛ enti no kwan bɛn ne yɛ bɛfa so asase yɛ no yɛ bɛtumi ama ne ho atɔ no ɛna ɔmo de ahyehyɛ nneɛma gu akwan mu ama nnɛ ɛno nti yɛ bɛdu mpɛmpɛn so a yɛ du na ɛnɛ baby abefa bia no your president ahoro na omo ye meeting ahoro jeans edebe na omo kobi nyina ye se asase environmental degradation ye se asase no ehu sika ye twetwagu wo enya asem keto eno any video a of ada na dia ma ye hu trimu pa ewo saa ensise ni nyina ti a omo ena wiase ye omo dia no nsise omo dia bu akwama ni nti omo de ka da biase o na mafa ye government omo fa aman ni nyina no mpanyifo ya yi omo se omo hwe ya so no omo be tawo mo tie gina omo so ena omo nam omo so edi sa dwumadie no ye nko fa ho na ofa ento aye so
ye to aso no ene ye sa ba be hwe se UFOs se ye nokure se ye nokure se pollution no na wo the deed to the land enti se ya hwe ni ya on be ba be ji ade no second video.
Okay. Second video of a say the horrors of UFOs invasion of the earth. The first video no
To simplify, it was absolutely necessary to get to the subject I mentioned previously. The plot known as the Orion Conspiracy. Our research group is convinced that UFOs constructed by the Americans or the Russians will be used to support an hoax attack on the Earth of extraterrestrial origin. The media taking care of the rest, of course. The reason? Once the threat of international terrorism has dissipated, the war economies of the major powers, with the United States at the head of the pack, will need a new enemy in order to still prosper. War on Earth will be replaced by space war against an enemy from beyond. So then, gentlemen, I thank you. A complete report will be handed to you at the exit. As for me, I'll see you again soon for a second update on a quite different subject.
Medase sa ubusuara ti ufidi mu a o hwe dwumadie UFO yese ye ho a ye beti se yese aliens bi eni nam wiem yese bibi eni nam wiem eno ena video ekohwe ye mpanyifo a o makwadare e wo sa nemu na papa no o kasa na o kire se Sane mani nyina Russia, America for ɛyɛ biribi ebi ya na afi ɔmo pɛsɛ ɔmo bɛko ntɔkwa bi mbata ɔmo pɛ kwan ɔmo bɛfa so a ɔmo bɛtumi ama ɛbi ho ato nipa so na nipa yɛ ma hyehye wɔm kwan bɛn so na ɛnɛ yɛbɛfa a wɔn na yɛsi yɛ nko ntɔkwa bi mu dɛm ne nneɛma yɛde ba bɛgyina hɔ a yɛbɛma nipa yɛ ma hyehye ne sanse fɛs no sɛ yɛsi wɔ a na nipa yɛ ma hyehye no nti yɛka sɛ yɛ biribi a ɔbɛyɛ ɛnɛ yɛ boa ne yɛtoto bɔmba ne yɛka sɛ afei deɛ adwebrɛ o munyae munya we abɛsɛ mu deɛ tiri ɛnɛ ɔmo sɛ ɛnɛ ɔmo nya ne sɛ bi mu yɛ ɔno ɔmo gyae eti kwan bɛn so ɔmo bɛfa ɛno ɛna mo ɔmo de saa nhyehyɛ wɔ UFO yɛsi bibi nam wiem ɔbɛte yɛsi bibi apie a efi wiem boom aba na se ɛno ɛho video ɛna yɛkɔhwɛ no ɔba
ɛda ase nti no wo a wote hɔ a wogye me ka sɛ program yi so baako bi bisa question bi ɛba in the form of a message so person who say UFOs or hada so if we be there once and when you be I say ya true papa me say a weapon a on design here sir no when in 1968 you went the Club of Rome a buy one could share Rockefeller for private estates Bellagio Italy the whole of my say say to me establishing the environmental movement. It is a Club of Rome and every day now maybe I see who say a club woman they are there for crisis invention. When they can be energy to any of the Club of Rome membership include past and present heads of state and government officials, high-level politicians, just a cut across. And he said, when they create crisis, into all the environmental movement, by every third video. Okay. The third video here, the environmental movement. That's all. Environmental movement.
Ladies and gentlemen, the origins of the environmental movement as we see it began back in 1968 when the Club of Rome was formed. The Club of Rome has been described as a crisis think tank which specialises in crisis creation. The main purpose of this think tank was to formulate a crisis that would unite the world and condition us to the idea of global solutions to local problems. In a document called The First Global Revolution, authored by Alexander King and Bertrand Schneider, on pages 104 and 105, it stated, "In searching for a new enemy to unite us, we came up with the idea that pollution, the threat of global warming, water shortages, famine and the like would fit the bill. All these dangers, of course, will be caused by human intervention that will require a global response." That's the origin of global warming, ladies and gentlemen.
I see a sabri video aminu actually the UFOs na environmental movement, you know, and no video and I actually na and she say any niema a tayatira tinupo any niema a mother sister sadi ni no and no video me person make kasa be yanko fa ho na offer emfa yanko ye say no yenya enough evidence say environmental crisis you see about wiase climate change aba the niema ye and I cause climate change in the environment environmental crisis has been invented semia which we are inhabitants of the earth are control now the measures we are pressing take care they didn't save assassin they did bar to be for opposition be amba and you know about kakra 1980s and Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, you have the structural adjustment program. I know so they say
Because it be so from the time we call Berlin Conference 1884, 1885, I could see Africa kuso. Emma European nations be so no. We created the cash crop economic system. So Africa there, the anywhere they call Amansai Gasua, apart from raw materials. Raw materials are gold, diamond, cotton, whatever. I mean, they call mutually now or medium figure. I call Danny Daniel, almost have beton and product, no, at their mind. There are raw materials. And almost see factories. And yet the enemy say raw materials no near the beko. Now almost ebi aye niema almost about the ton across African countries near economies no. The Nigerian I stunted a poor engineering and Kobia. In the 80s number say you about the Buamu where is structure more economy no. Sanya a bit we are too bon Marco. Now we say to whose benefit?
Because you call you
now as part of it, you know, Ghana, Diano, PNDC governments, I don't know at that time, no, not going say, or the mandatory land title registration. So we are registered as assassin, no land title, Ediamano. If you're not land administration, you're Ghana, no. Now you will see what's up. Then go ahead, next picture. Our pictures.
The next picture now, Ghanaian Times, 2nd March 1987. Land titles registration law introduced. What first picture now into mine? Okay.
Next picture.
Ghanaian Times, 31st March 1987. Land title law will limit litigation. Sorry. Land titles law will limit litigation. Lawyer. Mufasa picture meant to somebody.
The next picture.
Daily Graphic, 29th August 1987. New land title registration system by next October. Mufasa picture no and to my.
And finally, the fourth picture I tossed on
okay, Daily Graphic, 3rd March 1988. Land title registration exercise launched. Mufasa picture no to sumai.
And you know, when I'm here, mandatory say, after so be a register Lasase. And to some kakra. June 1992. And if you see world leaders in Koshia Rio de Janeiro. Say, abodi ya wuza asase ya abuse no. Nti yenkosia we anyene ekwan ya ebe faso a ibe save asase ya. Na ya be ko Rio de Janeiro Brazil no. Kaka team say report from Iron Mountain. Actually ekwan environmental crisis by ya inhabitants of the earth say you could actually now be yamwa na asase ya onya ne ho. Next picture here. Times, 1st June 1992. Rio coming together to save the earth. Mufasa picture into sumai. And he says, say there, yanko your video no a tosso. Okay. The video na a toss the Rio Earth Summit. Mufasa video no in my.
Secretary General Boutros Ghali, and my gratitude to Secretary General Maurice Strong for his tireless work in bringing this Earth Summit together. This is truly and historic gathering. There are those who say that economic growth and environmental protection cannot be compatible. Well, let them come to the United States, where in the 20 years since Stockholm, our economy has grown by 57%, and yet we've cut the lead going into the air by 97%, the carbon monoxide by 41%, the particulates by 59%. We've cleaned up our water and preserved our parks, wilderness, and wildlife. We come to Rio prepared to continue America's unparalleled efforts to preserve species and habitat. And let me be clear, our efforts to protect biodiversity itself will exceed the requirements of the treaty. But that proposed agreement threatens to retard biotechnology and undermine the protection of ideas. And unlike the climate agreement, its financing scheme will not work. And it is never easy. It is never easy to stand alone on principle, but sometimes leadership requires that you do. And now is such a time. Let's face it, there has been some criticism of the United States, but I must tell you, we come to Rio proud of what we have accomplished and committed to extending the record on American leadership on the environment.
The world is our garden, and together we must cultivate it. This week at Rio, we have made a start. Beyond Rio, we must continue to carry it through. Mr. Chairman, for our generation and for future generations, there can be no other way. Thank you.
Una importante especie biológica está en riesgo de desaparecer por la rápida y progresiva liquidación de sus condiciones naturales de vida, el hombre.
We cannot be complacent unless the agreements reached here are accompanied by real commitments to significant change. Change, of course, indeed, for the human species. In my view, Your Excellencies, we simply are headed for a moment in the 21st century where the condition of our species may become terminal.
Então vamos logo, porque a pessoa tem que todo um bondinho só. Não sei, mas não dá. Logo, muda de uma forma. A gente tem a prática, a filtragem.
Can you?
Abusia sabri ugusu awani hye Wake Up Africa Jumedia na meka se yi ufidie no emfi ha yakohwe video no na video no enya kokudam nketwa o Bush senior no wom Fidel Castro ono so ewom bi empanyifo akokudam ahoro ai kasa ebam enyina kopie ojumedie na se a na omunyina kasafa environment san hihye ya omudie bu akwam climate change ne aho jumedie omudi no anu no mukusia ena sabe o sa ke sa o video ya hwe ya na ho jumedie na gase enye ena san hihye ya ofa aka ho asemi omudi bu akwam kofo na dijuma ache yi pa na zata no nyina na bidifo ye ndi omuguso sesa no na ye ndi eja ye nim ye ko enti o ma se ababa ye tuwa na mo aye no be ye nyina wie ye ndi ye nim ho hwe ofa da Roma enya de wanya bi ahwe over
enti conference ni wie ye no ena wo mu hihye blueprint ye be frame agenda 21 e de ba se abede ye ba control every aspect of human endeavor activity here be bia no and the resources no we asino esa nti ye no generation o se se no every new die bizuma nchima o momba Because agenda 21 by yako ninu edi na sako agenda 2030 election di ntia ada say agenda 21 anasa agenda 2030 sooner yesi global governance system bebe ntino yehu yedi ni na aba na hono ni emi ati ase say create agenda 21 create buffer zone the bio ha sabi wildlife esa baby is a new party on my baby create on na ya kwa krabo omo baby abi e ka tell say asase ni kwa eni pa do so mu a abi wo badi edi nti buffer zones na ba be create no emo so benya omo space na eniya so enya omo space let us say yatimi asise niema ama bibi akoso ade etia me say ensase wo ewiase die ni beba under the control of the United Nations. The agenda 21 na setting the tone ama this new subtopic aye be sebuno ye be kwani if under the same agenda 21 and Europe any other parts of the world farmers all ye jomo sase ama won de omo trackers aba kukasin ade aba be demonstration ye ko ye ninu ye begu videos ni na train say agenda 21 eye aduma na ade akonani it omo ye Rio conference no September 2000 ana bufumu ko vianai Osani world leaders in it was eventually the largest gathering of world leaders at a go. And now could see MSCC no. It will set up the goals to be waiting a meeting. See a year everywhere, see a year complete, and if they can na count some of the above say. We're talking about Millennium Development Goals. And then the starting here. And then see, the next picture, it can be reached. We should look at Vietnam, Asia world leaders, or can I say reach there or say.
Daily Graphics, 7th September 2000. Help protect mankind. Kofi Annan urges world leaders. Over picture no and to Somalia.
Kofi Annan abehwe eno akire ni na some meeting na 150 heads of state eno koye then go the next picture.
Ghanaian Times, 2nd February 2001. African voices at the Millennium Summit. Mofasa picture no eto Somalia. Until world leaders are calling now 150 no omu good picture omu try eno until sama kwesiane aka say we you yan fi we fi no na dey kwa goals no United Nations settlement video no say the next video no abodi adaso no Millennium Development Goals MDGs mo fasa video no enumai. Abusia sabri wani kuso a wo share Wake Up Africa Jumedia na aya video a yakosha e kire of our boss no the Millennium Development Goals no and yema o mo hye ya development goals a eno no mpanyifo se yenhwe na yenyi efi yabrabo mu no eno video ene ekohye no
na ekoba se Millennium Development Goals no the man and say by 2015 na say o man bia tinye meet sa target 2015 degree ntumi amfa ene say ene sabia ya de ko 2030 ya na say increase goals no ene ko 17 nti 80 grand ni a 17 ebe then go here next video your next picture your next picture
okay your next picture no daily graphic 28 September 2015 President Muhammad joins world leaders to adopt SDGs. But over some picture no enter somaye.
The next picture.
Daily graphic 21st October 2015 creating a new world, changing the MDGs to SDGs. Over some picture no enter somaye.
The next picture.
Ghanaian Times 25th February 2020. The United Nations Secretary General's SDG advocates. Mufasa picture no ento somayen.
We money 17 advocates are wo mo behama SDGs ni na
anga sa
meeting na meeting ya hwama ni na wiase meeting ya TV.
Yo.
Tetuwa ke ni na dia. Edi adwuma advocates who are here, you share the next video.
Okay. The next video no mobilizing citizens of the world to achieve the 2030 agenda. We just have video no enu mai.
In the year 2015, the world agreed on the ambitious, inclusive, and universal sustainable development goals, making a commitment to leave no one behind.
It is so decided.
Just a few months later, we are already seeing those promises transform into first concrete steps for action. On 21st of April, presidents, prime ministers, and other high-level representatives from around the world gathered at the UN headquarters in New York for a high-level debate on achieving the SDGs now that the goals and targets have been set.
We have no time to waste.
It's now time to turn this agreement into policies and action, into laws and budget lines.
Also on hand were several of the SDG advocates, prominent members of various segments of the society from government, business sector, entertainment, sports and culture, whose mission is to raise awareness for the SDGs and spur public into action towards their implementation.
I think that these goals are really truly a blueprint for how we can deal with the needs of our society and of the world.
I find this the chance for this generation. Clear goals, moral basis, good ethics, combining economic prosperity, social justice, and environmental sustainability.
Our collective commitment to the 17 Sustainable Development Goals is our most important defense in ensuring the benefits of our modernizing world are shared among all nations and among all people, and not just the privileged few.
These are not goals about poor countries. There is still a long way to go to really achieve sustainable development, whether you're in a rich country or a poor country.
There's no way we can talk about sustainable goals without concrete actions about what is happening not just in our world, but also on the continent that I come from.
All of these things are touching us. All nations are involved in this, and unless we deal with that, unless we all come together, we won't be able to solve the problems of our own country because we haven't solved the problems of the other.
We need first to take seriously the goals, because these are the world's goals. They're the only goals we're going to have for our generation.
I guess the world I always am looking to see is a world that is filled with a lasting peace.
Abisia minu mienu ana dwumadi ye guso AD na wani guso asabi o hwe dwumadi video a ekɔhye ye no eye development millennium development goals omudi kan hye ya afi ombeye no SDG first almost say MDGs afi de be SDGs na no na ye 8 ana almost say omu ye fi ho omo ntimi amaho bra 8 no ntimi andi hujuma anhu ne ekosiye adabraka ni hu ya ne se afi de almost say 2015 omo kosia na almost say afi de omo hwe se omo tum apedem ko 17 enema ompese omo yifi abraobi abrabom na menu mi de se nei ohia afi abrabom de bia nyima buso amenu mi ye ye eno ne enema omka so ombe yifi yasetena mo ewu ahoro nkitenkiten kola hawo nyema ekoso yarewa eni ebikura apie Nigeria yegusu kan wa South African countries in mati say be pox mpox apie o we nyema omo se ebo se ombe yifi yasetena ma yifi abrabom SDG na ye kan wasem na eno ne nyema no hia ye go biom from 20 ahia omo se sa yi no and this in 2015 ni ye hu no se eye sa na omatimi aye dia eye 17 enti yen ko fa ho na ofa ma ye hu se omatimi aye dia pa jofa yapa
ya hu so 2030 nuri enti ye twen se omatimi aye dia yes so na scripture kan aye no Genesis 11 1 Nimrod can say, come, let us make bricks. Now I am building tower.
And one
United Nations. Come, let us set 17 goals. I am and now present Kufo Ebedia 2001. 2002 January and a Peruvian economist via a friend Dr. Hernando de Soto eba Ghana ha ebe ma public lecture na de Soto founder of the Institute of Liberty and Democracy omoto nsafo no one organizes our conference no ye UNDP and IEA omubaye no tisoto be kasa on the topic poverty and property rights under the theme why capitalism triumphs in the West and fails elsewhere else. Yanko video no tosina sana makahuasem.
Okay. Video I be wa for say no the mystery of capitalism. Hernando de Soto. No fasa video no emu.
The Mystery of Capital: Why Capitalism Triumphs in the West and Fails Everywhere Else, by Hernando de Soto, is a seminal work that delves into the underlying reasons behind the success of capitalism in Western countries and its struggle to take root in many other parts of the world. De Soto's book is a thought-provoking exploration of the role of property rights and the informal economy in economic development. Through meticulous research and analysis, he argues that the lack of secure property rights is a major obstacle to economic growth in many developing nations. De Soto begins by highlighting the paradox that many developing countries possess vast amounts of wealth in the form of real estate and other assets, yet their citizens remain impoverished. He suggests that the primary reason for this paradox is the absence of a formal property rights system that allows individuals to transform their assets into capital. In Western countries, well-defined and legally protected property rights provide the foundation for capitalism to flourish. Individuals can use their property as collateral to access credit, invest, and engage in entrepreneurial activities. This formal property system enables economic growth and prosperity. The author argues that in contrast, many developing countries lack an effective system of property rights. Property ownership is often based on informal arrangements that are not legally recognized. This leads to a situation where vast segments of the population are effectively excluded from the formal economy. De Soto contends that the absence of formal property rights results in a massive, dead capital problem, where the wealth tied up in informal property cannot be leveraged for economic development. De Soto supports his argument with extensive empirical evidence from various countries, including Peru, Egypt, and the Philippines. He presents case studies of individuals and businesses struggling to gain access to the formal economy due to the lack of secure property rights. These stories illustrate how the absence of legal recognition of property hinders economic progress and perpetuates poverty. One of the book's key insights is the concept of property as a social construct. De Soto asserts that property rights are not solely defined by law but are deeply embedded in social norms and practices. In Western countries, property rights have evolved over centuries to become a well-established and universally recognized institution. In contrast, many developing nations lack this historical development, leading to uncertainty and insecurity regarding property ownership. De Soto's prescription for addressing this issue involves formalizing and securing property rights for the millions of people living in the informal economy. He advocates for a systematic process of property titling and registration that would provide legal recognition to informal property holdings. By doing so, he believes that these individuals would be able to leverage their assets, access credit, and participate in the formal economy, ultimately leading to economic growth and poverty reduction. Critics of De Soto's thesis argue that his emphasis on property rights oversimplifies the complex challenges faced by developing nations. They contend that other factors, such as political instability, corruption, and inadequate infrastructure, also play significant roles in hindering economic development. While these criticisms have validity, De Soto's focus on property rights should be seen as a foundational step in addressing broader development issues. Moreover, the book's emphasis on the informal economy is particularly relevant in the context of developing countries. The informal economy often constitutes a significant portion of economic activity in these nations. De Soto's argument that formalizing property rights can integrate the informal sector into the mainstream economy holds promise for addressing poverty and fostering economic growth. In conclusion, Hernando de Soto's The Mystery of Capital offers a compelling analysis of the role of property rights in economic development. He convincingly argues that the lack of secure property rights in many developing countries is a major barrier to economic progress. By formalizing property rights and recognizing the importance of property as a social construct, De Soto proposes a path towards inclusive capitalism and poverty alleviation. While his thesis is not without its critics, his work remains a foundational contribution to the discourse on economic development in the modern world.
Awusia sabi wani gusu a wo share Wake Up Africa Jumadi na video a ye share yi ofa epese ye local people no ofa adwen ye ho ti na o ma ye hwe video yi asam ni nyina no tofa bo ni se adentina Europe ho de omo ye niema se ne hese omo ye na ekoso eye practice omo practice ya se ye di buman ho ne de in a way no omo de omo timi ya omo de koso na adentina ba yen ma ye wa ha ya sa the same practice no ye di etire a yen de ya ye aye bia sa development goals ko Europe ba bi ni ade ahun se niema bi ye oba Africa ha but development goals ya seti ekom ohia enyama a ekoso Africa no enya eno na obisa se adenti ena ase Europe no ni ade wie sa nyama ibi du ba bi a ase eyeyi wo kakra na ba yen local ahase na esan se yen no de enchi se ya omo ma yen no ni nia ya omo de ben wa ha no yen panifo no adabraka aya mo hwehwe mu kakra aya nneɛma ne ba monhwehwɛ mu kakra monni akyire kakra mompɛnsɛmpɛnsɛ nnimum kakra ɛsiane aya na tirimupo a enti a ɔmo de hyehyɛ nneɛma ɛma ɔmo nkurɔfoɔ no wɔ no ɔmo de ba ha ɛnyɛ da same tirimupo na ɔmo de brɛ yɛn wɔ ha o aya na yɛ difference wɔ mu ha ne deɛ ɔmo de bɛnyɛ yɛn nkoa ɔmo de bɛyɛ nslevian ɔmo de bɛnua yɛn aka yɛahyɛ ɛno nti yɛserɛ ɛno video ɛna ɔfa ɛma yɛhwɛ no yɛn saase ne adeɛ a yɛyɛ ɛnɛ ɔmo gyi ne nyinaa anka ne nyinaa no anka mo deɛ mo bɛgye na ma yɛn ho ayi a ɛnyɛ nea ɛbɛboa nanso ɛnɛ na yɛhu ɔba
enti ɔbaa ɔbɛma lecture no ɛna ɔkaeɛ no theme of the lecture no ne yɛhwɛ no video mu na ɔyɛ obi a ɔno ɔka in fact we have the next picture na mu hu no the picture bɛɛ mu
okay
graphic no
okay the next picture na yɛbɛhwɛ no ɛyɛ daily graphic 30th January 2002 Ghana ideal place for investment economist mo fa sa picture na to sumaye
the photo no na da ho no nti obama lecture ni wie na people si dey buy so can say Ghana ideal place for investment in September 2002 and President Kufuor invite no ba Ghana no it's a say brainchild foundation for the building of capital for the poor no abaya jatu it means say about the launch of Ghana so na ya promote the registration of land titling of assets asase real estate and I say any other businesses biya here for nsem no ubekwa kunya title ho to say wodua okato aso say the developing countries here for kwa any former communist countries no a yeka capital a wo teso a ehia wo mu doso no a ya bibi kwa no benya $93 trillion eye sika so mu ko register no mu ya title no a ebetimi aboa wo mu no nya collateral when they are starting businesses pictures in content concluding
Daily Graphic 24th September 2002 Foundation for Capital for the Poor launched Mufasa picture no ento sumayen
anyway can say
departure say anyway
Foundation for
Capital for the Poor launched we give
okay.
Me pacho mo fa sa picture no ento somaye eno ye foundation okay. Me pacho sabri yenton ade kakra na yeba na yatoa so quantum spectacle who the rule Israel consort and a spectacle aba edwaman so na spectacle yi de eniwa se asin se ebia wo tight screen anim na tembia no odie wani esi screen wa ti se laptop your friend is saying desktop office more office no anase phone so tembia na wani simu no spectacle we na bebo wani ba isa say radiation and radiation ya de nyina ye ndodo na no radiation mpo TV ya hwe no ni ade nyina radiation we bebo wani ho ban afi radiation ho eno ati ne bia okenka ya de na ade no akeka bom kusukuku na ati wani no nti wani si ahwe buku na atutu abom enti wani ni tambi bi ha o hye sum kaka na opia na wani so ayo tuntum spectacle ya badwa so a ebeboa ama wani no aye ho adwuma yi ama o say number ebia na ebinu mo frɛ pisa number obetimi afrɛ for spectacle yi obrahu nsɛm bisa bia na so pɛsɛ utobia number no 0244 888 910 0244 888-1910. We a number of if there no spectacle no pe information bi ana o pese o saka bia ba bia wo bia Ghana ha no me pacho ofra ye bi hujuma ama wonso wonsa akan pepepe enti fresa number no pususa number no na o pususa ahomatrofo na efa spectacle yi ho a eho bibia no wonsa ebeka ebebesa ya bi no ye toaso jumadie no so enti mama yen call fa ho na okay, near war, I'm the pictures and so. And in the picture, I also have this foundation for capital for the poor launch. Mufasa picture no enter so my. Okay, yo.
President Clinton.
Okay.
Oh baby. Sabre 202 no I retired dada. Into na didn't baby.
Okay.
Yeah, befe.
Okay.
Sounds like the sotu.
Okay.
And Sabre President Akufo-Addo no foreign affairs minister. Between the Soto and Clinton and them. Sana President Kufuor and a National House of Chiefs President.
Okay.
Your friends say, on the who did you have me be an answer saying, anyone won't come. Next picture.
Next picture, no, Ghanaian Times, 25th September 2002. It is wrong for the country to be saddled with problems. Clinton. Mubasa picture no ento sumaye. Clinton na kasa semono. Okay,
next picture.
Okay, next picture no Daily Graphic 24th September 2002. Give government chance. Clinton tells Ghanaians.
Clinton. The other one the can say, "Yen tie the Soto can. Yen register and sassy. You letting their collateral. E dia kwa compare Sika a business.
Kofu some there.
Next picture.
Daily Graphic 24th September 2002. President calls for land reforms. Mufasa picture no ento sumaye.
Same thing also can I say. The papa na da kan ya no kwe. Say mon register mon sase. Na munya sika. Mo de call as collateral. Munya sika a business. Next picture.
Next picture no Ghanaian Times 12th December 2011. World Bank commits $50 million to lump. Mufasa picture no to sumaya. And we are not bisikata ejiro ubua. Rade. $50 million of Isaiah.
And Sabre na Mr. Mike Hammer. And then Lands and Mineral Resources Minister.
Okay.
Also the Canada will be a canopy. Munko register mon sasi no na munya
sika
document am fanko collateral na musa beteska ya buy into the Soto idea no. Next picture
no The Spectator 17th December 2011. Give attention to land title registration. What was that picture no enter so my no and will be a bomb the way
na
you say
yaka and a land title, then register land title. I am near pa and a woman. Yes.
Okay.
Yanko, the next picture.
The next picture no Cycles of Intrigue. The hidden inner cycle of the global Illuminati conspiracy by Texas Mars. Page 31. Mufasa picture no ento so emaye.
Na munyi masu. Na munyi no manyi so. Na muntie the Texas Mars kan with the book. Yanko register a land no. Ebie na wimu.
Okay. Ye come from the book of Intrigue no. Emu ana ye kana we page 31. Eho ana ye kan. Of Amakiama Yesi and Kanini. I see the city realm of global banking and finance and the bizarre campaign to save our Mother Earth join hands in one of Maurice Strong's creations, the World Conservation Bank. This Illuminati entity was co-founded in the late 1980s by Strong, Baron Edmund de Rothschild, James Baker, Bush Secretary of State, and David Rockefeller. Senior senior. Senior. Okay, senior. Currently, Clinton Secretary of Interior, Bruce Babbitt, is working under the control of this World Conservation Bank. Its purpose is to force poor and impoverished Asian, African, South and Central American countries strapped by debt to relinquish title to millions of acres of valuable and prime virgin lands to the bankers. In charge, their huge loans balances at exorbitant interest rates are forgiven. The objective of this FACES project is to transfer virtually all the world's remaining lands to the control of the Illuminati through its bogus World Conservation Bank. Thus, global-wide production of oil, precious metals, diamonds, timber, and other resources can be restricted, keeping prices at artificial highs. Since the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, and other dynasties now own the giant multinational corporations which produce oil, timber, and other valuable commodities. This successful scam to lock up all remaining lands via the World Conservation Bank means trillions of dollars in future profits for the Illuminati. Register the Bagana Land Administration Projects LAP. Register and that be do the collateral no your business. In the now the accordi near as well as Sika na me buta ne say me do asase that's how we try no asase do land title. There be da. The Soto or your agent. Me cannot send na me she. Secretary Abano si muntie the Soto kano. Na the Soto so na ye bie to ha. E de manu mesia over the me ahodi and next week. Kwakumi da say any time. Offer ye da say abusia da wase say what dey asi now. Okay. Now what you say next obade yaduma next week e beto aso. Sabri ye befa messages kakra na fi yatoa dwumadie no eso. I say you are too much good. Bless you helping us. Adjete blogger. You adjete blogger yadawase. Thanks goes to the man. My name is Owusu Ben in Safwa from Nyankontri, Sene East. You. We also say when we were kids, Wafa told us a story about the Siamese twins by the fireside. But today, things that will happen in future kudus Wafa by Payola Sefi Bekwai. They are lying. They will not do it. You also are doing no yate. Thank you, Hebrew teachers. You are doing a fantastic job. Keep it up, and Yah bless you all. I am Kwame Mante Yeji. You Yedase. Papa, you are great. You offer Obise, we are great. Good afternoon, great teacher. Wafayao. I pray for you to live long and prosper healthy life, because the kind of teachings you are giving to us, we can't get it anywhere. Kwesi Juno Asokori Mampong, new site. You offer Atinina. Please, good afternoon. Please, is aliens real? Mamu free, mum wayo, Miss Ramu first line. Why, Mutamuswa. Hello, RTV. I'm Charles. I think this show is good for us, the Africans. Aninti and offer the Abramuno Yate. The only one true prophet of God of the whole world is Wafa Yao Poku Dankwa. Nyankwada. Greetings to you and your entire crew. Nana Boache Nye Konongo. Yedibesi ya na fi yetwa ye ho ye ba na ye wo no ye de atoa so.
Men of Zion inaugurated a member kuo on the 24th of August 2024 ewa Accra Kaukudi Cultural Center. Sadano big business seminar ebe koso ama memeni nyina. Speakers wofa ya poku dankwa oye executive director Emma Free the Mind Movement, Israel Nkrumah the national coordinator, Ozo Gawuga the national organizer. Omuina presenting live on the 24th of August 2024 ewa Accra Kaukudi Cultural Center. Kojo Isaiah the music man ebe man jumto ema memani nyina ediasa ye kaiwo se memani nyina invite obi bia so ombedwane Men of Zion mema kuo no on the 24th of August 2024 ewa afiwe ni sada no ebe ye kikim asa edidie ebe koso so page media mu hwehwem bia 0244686557 aye Men of Zion see. Men of Zion inaugurated a member kuo on the 24th of August 2024 ewa Accra Kaukudi Cultural Center. Sadano big business seminar ebe koso ama memeni nyina. Speakers wofa ya poku dankwa oye executive director Emma Free the Mind Movement, Israel Nkrumah the national coordinator, Ozo Gawuga the national organizer. Omuina presenting live on the 24th of August 2024 ewa Accra Kaukudi Cultural Center. Kojo Isaiah the music man ebe man jumto ema memani nyina ediasa ye kaiwo se memani nyina invite obi bia so ombedwane Men of Zion mema kuo no on the 24th of August 2024 ewa afiwe ni sada no ebe ye kikim asa edidie ebe koso so page media mu hwehwem bia 0244686557 aye Men of Zion see. Men of Zion
Wake Up Africa Jumadi Kofi Kumi ana medaso ATM gwanu mense sanre na sabri yatwa Jumadi no so enya asem ketwa kra ofa edin section no aba na wawie na yadu ofa Israel so na ye comment chain Mr Bondman nenye enede ojebu mu anu ani buya enunti minisa ofa ye ni sei die na enede ne eba de ye nyina ye na onu de obeye enunti sabri ye ko ofa Israel kumi mo akwa bio so bigidi se bibia boko bia kama e do badi ase emi se ofa de ye wura babia de bia no de ba na du babia na abotu wo no den aya na abotu enunti babia du de ye be jaji na fe watu aye so ko pon bo a memende be ya na mema no nyina be hia okay na openense obama PowerPoint presentation na aboy nyina di kan kwase ho aka ho asem kra wa ya eni pe hinim die o o de abonabra brabo no sisi be wie eni pe hinim die o de abonabra sa enti no kopon bo a no me dey be ewo Kaukudi Cultural Center 37 bra bi dama bi amra bi aso Africa no obi wonu mu a on tinasi it's on tasase here and before I mabo especially I hear for no ebinum mobo we need to krumu and who say yen sasano minerals I want sasano woman you need yansa it is so into no buy no or the say asasano yen register land title. And they say, ye ate. Sakota has here, they say, I have for no, only to share assassin so. Land me over there. Open one plot, you see, camel 70 by 100. Become from one of the tears here. On this card, there, not one plot. First, look at 100 by 100. It's a baby. New law Saba. It's 70 by 100. So, tell one plot to know. I said, making sure, say, we share the size of the land. What the whole plan?
na ọkọ ahịa n'ọnụ mụ a ọbụma ọbụ efe nse indenture ẹbi na ọhịa ntụnụ no ọmụ indenture yẹmọ indenture ewie no tasịrị afa ẹnyẹ ọ dị ya o ọhịa dị ama o indenture pẹpẹ na ọhịa dị ama ọ no enimu ẹwọ sẹ ọkọ lance na ọkọ sẹ asasịrị ọhịa dị ama ọ no ẹyẹ obi dị ẹsẹ dị obi dị a.
nyake sɛ onkɔ land no hene de mawa ebetumi ayi obi bia no hene de kra de ama nti ukɔ ye bibia wɔ so a lands fo nimu
ɛnu ti na bɛ sɛ land litigation na esi Sudan sisi obi so na caterpillar adwiri egu sɛ broni de ne mmara abɛka akyire hwɛ ɛnyɛ mu wɔn sɛ takwa ne bi fɛ kuro bi atoabo ne yɛ obi kuro ɔwɔ takwa ɛfi asase no gold wɔ asase no mu na ɛnyɛ ɔmo dea wɔfa nti no ɛwɔ sɛ aborɔfo no ɛkɔpɛ a new land
kuromafoɔ na ɔmo hɔ na ɛnyɛ ɔmo dea
daabi wɔn na mɛhu sɛ saa na
ɛkyerɛ wo
yes
bibi na ɛkɔɔ so wɔ saa abere no tumi bi
nti no aborɔfo yi sika ɛkɔsii new community ne to be say new atoabo na old town no a mo perifuo afunu ndompe do da wono yedwiri na agui atokwa apiate show no kwampo no Dalton apa hwɛ asɛm sɛ akyɛpa o Obiya mpazi kwa bisu Bush nomu senior nya the Bush ne papa the Bush senior nomu omuka no na omu yahu meetings anya na eji so obi hwemi a on class asinto nim de ekoso obi me say no dwa I know the university because tama almost here I don't know I am with you the soto buy no I important him president him you know if we are going them yeah I from yahin from moye de ni ba o de ska dollar ka yetire dollar power uhia 50 million pound na ya ko dia taye jire o ti sika no kwa hope na afele ya start o e ba ta amofo su opa domus go fa se baby ya na se ri ya o ro ko do e ya na do o ba taka Africa continent jina sadia na se apia che issue no o hwe bi mo enye by bibi see your chance keke dabi hwade apia 2 yes okay hwe apia 2 je apia ti dada takwa ono bodu apia ti bibia bomb explosion okay eko ye no you no fi hodo mo okay fufu de amma wo mo they say atobo me no benu okay na sofu wafeno sofu tailor tom de tailor you chronic fi hodo mo ako si da mo fe de ma mo fe hodo mo no gold awo hodo mo ya de yo land and seed laws under attack. Who is pushing changes in Africa? Who is investing? Yes. Yeah, kind of. I say the 50 million people that the G8 New Alliance for Food Security and Nutrition claims to be lifting out of poverty will only be allowed to escape poverty and hunger if they abandon their traditional rights and practices and buy their life-saving seeds every year from the corporations lined up behind the G8. Tanzania Organic Agriculture Movement, member of AFSA, September 2014. A battle is raging for control of resources in Africa. A battle is raging for control of resources in Africa. Land, water, seeds, minerals, oils, forest, oil, renewable energy sources. Agriculture is one of the most important theaters of this battle. Governments, corporations, foundations, and development agencies are pushing hard to commercialize and industrialize African farming.
And yet, as someone has a control, how many? I tell them it's about 15, 24 years in me. Yeah, but I don't have a president. Iron Mountain. Yeah, the resource. So, I'm on penny. So I'm on penny because of about they would try to kill this man. Here, and someone else know it's a say, or what jeans you say, and some. I am Frank. I know you. I am Frank. They say that's what I'm asking you to guide those. We call so you pass. A free to remain. I don't got to full personal offer. Now on unity in chain, the carbon call. And I can say, oh, yeah, as I said, down China food, no, but be mama, your coffee, you be a year. We shall be no young Papania to Mancasa. Nana, a cavacra. Yes, share more than 2,000 acres. If I know, sir, the other country is no. See the being new man in Kofu and into 2,000 acres of land. China for Afa. Let's say baby, and calling me Union. Don't pass, I say, as Daya, I am a fool. O Minya, Bocolanson, may your bony be dear. Adia, I will hold no. Bring you to Kumu. Yes, and so we need land them. So I wanted to Kumu. Oh, fair. And I mean, too, we wrap up. Cool, offer a next week in my podium, Bombatum. Bombatum. I say, almost grab your land, no, almost J land offer. Now, for you, I am part of the ideas. Okay. You. We need an initiative targeting land and laws. Thank you. African Union Land Policy Initiative. Proponents, African Union, United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, African Development Bank. Founding, EU. Actually, African Development Bank. Founding. And I compete, yes, and I'm with this documents, for collateral, send a bay out, you may be out of Moscow. It is funding here. I'm more funded EU. Yes. European Union. Yes. IFAD. Yes. UN. Yes. Habitats. Yes. World Bank. France and Switzerland. South Switzerland for you. Time frame 2006. The African Union, AU, together with the African Development Bank, AFDB, and the UN Economic Commission for Africa, UNECA, has been spearheading a land policy initiative since 2006, mainly a response to land grabbing on the continent. What a land grabbing! Yeah, the James are similar. Land grabbing on the continent. You're gonna pay. And you're gonna pay. Say Africa, the whole thing is got to do with Africa. Until say, and now, that's the only kind of research. Utiati. According venture, if you're here, no, so you one call land, no, dear. In front to make a cake. So, I mean, as I said, I couldn't believe in some Africa. That's how I am. So, is there a problem? That's how I am. Because you pay. Okay, I say, estate developers. I'm afraid of treachery. So, the old woman, I'm afraid of treachery. I'm the Sakaba. Only Buddha, only a collaborative. Yes. The crown,
You could put a cramp on the new cry a whole juma. Over the billions of pounds from the bar. Massa, I don't know. It's you know, or you know, no, among whites can be more him, no, up again, sir. On the name side, get dollar, cassa. Now, or you know, just as some who had more 70 acres of land. What your ma estate developer. Why are lands don't cause in a land tax or be into the land in the other more. When you say, yeah, the Hamo there be. It's answer or him not tongue. The Busia cry was a crooning. Oh, no, my fat. Yeah, what was the program? Was here. I feel that Sansa lands as I will say. More for who drove papa. And you're gonna pay African man. Into more or dog a fool as I saw them deal. What do you so? Think I will tell. Oh, no, Oba, and I'll be both say yes, as I saw them with the I would say, I do so I say, man be of our man be frame. I say, Omnana, bear 200 years. And no one use as I saw good abaso. No, o pinche asante, I am for the no. Or can say, oh, o documents were in. Oku documents in by so there be way in danger or hell no other ma oh it's so fair as so as some a boni bi dia fa ma no si ya da say we be wa no asim sabri mama mo fa number na to so ma ya na Abusia ya nyomu di juma no so entimi enfemba so na fe ya nyomu enkasa. May God continue to bless you abundantly for the good work. Mr. Can I please get the number that can call to get the may God continue to give you people strength to educate us. Please, thank you. Okay. This movement, I like it, but very scared about the lion. Sheep identity. Without them, no power manifestation. This is the reason why Nkrumah sent them away from our country. But today, we underestimate him. I'm Henry Benyo from Pachaudini Fakwa Fefi. When will Africans, for that matter Ghana, be free and with positive thinking leaders who will have this foresight to think? Hello? Yeah, that's it. Think straight, devoid of the oppressor's man's plan. Greetings, teachers, for your message. I use this platform to wish Apostle. Okay, yate. God bless you all. Yeah, that's it. Also, God bless you. Hello, my name is Daniel, watching you live from Kodi. I really like this show. May God bless you.
Hello?
Hello, Udini Papa Afrefi.
Pacho Didi Fred Mfefi Utiriti.
Me pacho yankwai.
Pacho papa program ahwe sa papa wa pini. Ghana papa we say ye nyombe mi sa pepe Ghana yeye. Na ma wo se papa we o prophet ankasa. E ji omo a adwini eye adwuma no beti papa ya si. Na se ma wo se ndofo yi on the intutu dan the so the program this one the ba mo see kola program dey move from church omo nema ma wo se ndofo sa dia ba intutu dan ye pese papa yi che dia we kire da ye hu because every so much intutu da ye grow and of their bay na ye den everything am I say that you e be ready no be buy.
Yeah, that's it. Yo, yeah, take Papa Wate Unka. Hi, please. Is Hell Real offer you Asemo Bibisa and no. Hi, my name is Luxury from Brekum. Would you never call Fefi? Therefore, me pato yanko wasem fatuja. Yanko.
Ya ba Mr. Zanko Mabaso pa me try to make the man fundamental to me can see actually the man two or mine enough. Very few among you free up your phone. Now you're pending for the soon be a minimum. The one show won't flap your phone because up your phone is Sabia Magana. The Bass is very economic. Yeah, for the number to the one number.
Yeah, that's it. Hi, my name is Luxury from Brekum. Thank you for the show. Please, I want to ask, is heaven real or fake? Hey, Asemo, yo, of art. Are aliens real? Therefore, what about you, my dear? So, did you talk about Fefi?
Actually, from a divine, because of a Tapadi.
You patch for some to yet you.
Oh, most of the day, now, find no more camera and no crap power. I think you're gonna see the way the moon. So, could be so that the channel for a such as the way the return of Moka.
Yo, yes, that was it. Hi, good morning. It's about Third World War. Yo. So natural na good afternoon, Wafa Dankwa. It's true that Therefore, Pacho, didn't you call Fefi? Yo, yet you pa.
You need a senior fellow a possible you. I believe a possible senior fellow a possible you. You walk in the eye of the crap. It's just a little bit of a well, it's a while, you know, the crack out of that. What? I didn't sit there. You sit down, you're got to be doing Ghana this year. You know, I let him out, no friend, no platform here. You just in the eye. You don't have to do good.
Yeah, that's it. Kwesigo. So, aliens are coming to this world. Okay, obinso so question or the abanano. Please, Illuminati's therefore, but you didn't have a free.
Look at you,
yet for us to jar.
But we are not having the crap. Because so what the rebellion money now. Okowa, also have a fire in the holding time. But once I have a back. I have a stop to continue. What comes over Juma? Over Juma, what corona? I had a unity and Judago or the church.
Yo, yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
so, yeah, that's it. Me patch on more messages, Aban messages in a dorsey ye pa now, so when him say a break and ye did Jumano. I had a break and my coin, and until your best remo say, okay, last caller, Fair for our Faber Jumadi, so we didn't for Opefi, NCR for saying for last year for corner back on count. And until Obi Fair for we didn't for Opefi.
But you're very difficult, it's a gathering.
Okay, you bet your young for us to you.
The chair for Kuku Dankapa, that's what I see could you play because I gathered for difficult. I feel I'm looking now in the correct, the machine, Michigan, a possible.
Yo, yes, so I was a furniture, okay, of a cell or tiao pa. I was aha, and I bring them my quiet, and my dear Jumadino, and you know, about a year. Now, and I summon that deputy, now ye Casa Fahono, the Jesuits in some summoner, and the Numun and
ofa abie so ama ye hu alien eye yasase hu nsensem a ene omudi trimopo bi saa omahye niema ahoro eno anti na omakofa climate change hu nsensem ebetu dwa enam so ama ene ni babi ye du ni ne ye hu ene nsem a ene mpanyifo di abre yen nyina yatibie mpanyifo a meni omudi dwumadie eye wo fa ya opoku dankwa a wo ye executive director edema equal friend Free the Mind movement one ne ba Israel Nkrumah a ono so ye national coordinator edema equal friend Free the Mind movement Israel number ni se ebia wo asembisa bi wo openchenchiremu bi fa eye dwumadie hu a obefra Israel number 0244 686557 0244 686557 we any Israel number ofra opusu a onsa beka no na asembia opese obisa no na wabisa me a metra dwumadie mu se dwumadie mchamfo medin ene Kofi Kumi akramo obade ye adoma dasende ebesan ehia.
Men of Zion inaugurate a member kuono aye on the 24th of August 2024 ewa Accra Kaukudi Cultural Center. Sadano big business seminar ebe koso ama memeni nyina. Speakers wofa ya poku dankwa oye executive director Emma Free the Mind movement, Israel Nkrumah the national coordinator, Ozo Gawuga the national organizer. Omuina presenting live on the 24th of August 2024 ewa Accra Kaukudi Cultural Center. Kojo Isaiah the music man ebe man jum to ama memani nyina ediasa ye kaiwo se memani nyina invite obi bia so ombedwane Men of Zion mema kuo no on the 24th of August 2024 ewa afiwe ni sada no ebe ye kikim asa edidie ebe koso so page media mu hwehwem bia 0244 686557 aye Men of Zion see. Men of Zion inaugurate a member kuono aye on the 24th of August 2024 ewa Accra Kaukudi Cultural Center. Sadano big business seminar ebe koso ama memeni nyina. Speakers wofa ya poku dankwa oye executive director Emma Free the Mind movement, Israel Nkrumah the national coordinator, Ozo Gawuga the national organizer. Omuina presenting live on the 24th of August 2024 ewa Accra Kaukudi Cultural Center. Kojo Isaiah the music man ebe man jum to ama memani nyina ediasa ye kaiwo se memani nyina invite obi bia so ombedwane Men of Zion mema kuo no on the 24th of August 2024 ewa afiwe ni sada no ebe ye kikim asa edidie ebe koso so page media mu hwehwem bia 0244 686557 I am Men of Zion see.